SSIS and SSRS testing service.
SSIS and SSRS. Okay. Connection. Packages గురించి అడుగుతారు. How do you get the packages done? Um,
So we have problem of site directly automated on the phone. Okay. Yeah. Seven to three. Nine 4 hours.
All right. All right, guys. So yesterday's assignment questions. So what we are going to do with that questions? So what's the answer for this? The answer for this would be select star from EMP where ename like. So why am I going with a like operator here? I do not have the complete string. I just have only the partial string. So I'm just going with a like operator. All right. And I said that I need the third letter as L. I do not know the first two letters. So when I do not know first two letters, only two letters. So I'm gonna go with two underscores. Yeah. And I'm not bothered about as part of the string. So I'm just gonna go with the percentage. So this is how the query is. Okay, so this will be your output for your first code. Right, so you have Allen and Miller whose name contains L in your third position. Likewise, the other one. So what is this? So select star from EMP, right, where ename. And I'm asking you to figure out the second occurrence of the employee name. So like, okay, I said second occurrence, not the second position. It is the second occurrence. So what do I mean by second occurrence? I'm not bothered about whatever the string that I have. I need to have a. I'm not bothered about between strings or wherever it is. I need another a. That's it. This is what the question is meant. Alright. I need the employees who has their name in their second occurrence. Now you see Adams has got his name, Adams has got A twice in his name. This is what I mean by the question. Okay, so this is what the assignment answers are. Okay, alright, so today what are we going to do? Today we'll see about the functions. Okay, so we're going to concentrate on functions today. The first kind of function that we are going to talk about today is mathematical functions. Okay, so what are the different mathematical functions that we have? The different mathematical functions, like the first one, absolute. Right, this function, what is this? Yeah, you have square root also. Will come one by one. Okay, all right, absolute. What this function does? All right, let's say select -15. Okay, let me say ABS of -15 from dual, and select ABS of 15 from dual. Now what is this particular function doing? Now when I say select ABS of -15, what it has done, it has converted, or ABS absolute value is going to be generated, where it is going to convert a signed value to an unsigned integer. Like when I say signed value, a negative value is converted into a positive value. That is what this absolute is doing. Now what happens when I supply a positive value to that particular absolute? When I supply a positive value to that absolute, even then I'll get the output as positive. So the best way of remembering this particular absolute function is, if at all you have a particular column which is having negative data displayed and you wanted to convert into positive values, then make use of this function called as your absolute. Okay. Likewise, you have another function called SQRT. And I'll be talking about main important functions that we'll be dealing with. Okay, it is square root. Okay, let's say select SQRT of 4 from dual. This is all your simple mathematics. The answer would be 2. It converts or it calculates the square root of a particular number. Alright, SQRT of 16 from dual. Right, from dual. So you have a value generator. Alright. Okay, likewise you have different functions like sine. You might have studied this in the time of your school days, like learning the mathematics. Sine, tan, cos, all these are your trigonometry related functions. Okay, so what does this particular function do? This particular function will calculate the sine value of a particular number. So this is the sine value of that particular number. Okay, likewise you have other functions like cos. These are all, I mean, you'll be using where you have the necessity of working or necessity in working on trigonometry related columns or measurements. Wherever you have measurement, you'll be going with this particular mathematical functions. Apart from this, the main important function that everyone would be working is a round function. Okay, so to better understand this particular round function, what am I going to do? I'm going to give you a list of queries. From the result, let's derive what exactly the round function does. So that way you will understand or you will keep the concept in a better way. Like let's say select the round of comma 3 from your, let me list out everything. Alright. Let's go initially with these particular 4 queries to understand the round function. Okay, I'm just executing this part of the query and I see the result in this way. So what is your understanding on this particular round function now?
It will round to the 3.
It will round to the,
3 after decimal.
yeah, it will round to the 3 after your decimal, that is correct. But how is it rounding? On what basis? So if it's rounding up to 3 digits, now the value that I see on the third digit is as 8. Yeah, that's 9.
Because that will round approximate value.
Approximate value. Okay.
If it is like more than 5, and then it will add to the.
So what will be the output of this? The output is 565. Alright, let me say this as 4. Now what happened? Yes, even this particular query has rounded it to 3 digits after your decimal, but you see the output coming in a different manner. Now if I keep both the things in a single part of the query, then you would understand it more better way. Alright. Now one of the output, it is rounding the value as 569, the other one is giving as 564. How or on what basis we are getting this particular value generated? Now, this particular query is the understanding over this particular query is the whatever the input string, this is your input string. This round has got two arguments. This round function has got two arguments. This is your input string. This is your first argument. The whatever this search string or whatever the input data that you're giving within this particular round function is your input data, input string. Okay. The second one is nothing but your search string. All right. Or the second argument. All right. This is your second argument, which is nothing but your search string. So what it does now, from the first argument or based on your second argument, the first argument value is going to be regenerated. Now if you look at the second argument, always the second argument will point out the number of digits that needs to be present after your input value. Okay, the the second argument will always give you the number of digits that needs to be present after your decimal. Now here you see that I have given 3. It means that I need 3 digits after the decimal. Perfect. So there will not be any action taken place on first digit, second digit, there will not be any action taken place. But when rounding up to 3 digits, the third digit, to round the value up to 3 digits, now what happens is it will check for the fourth digit value. If the fourth digit value is greater than 5 or equal to 5, then what it does, it increments the third value by 1. It increments the third value by 1, and that is the reason why you see the value as 1234.569. Okay, but if the fourth value or the fourth position digit is less than 5, then there will not be any action taken place on the third digit, and that is why you see the output as 1234.56. Is that understandable? Clear? All right. Now let's take the same situation. Let's derive the output for this one. Now what will be the value for the first input? What would be the value for this one? What would be the value as an output? Here, if you check the query, what am I trying to do? I am trying to round to
It will be 0.57 after decimal.
right. So the first one would be 0.57. The reason why is the third digit is greater than or equal to 5, so it has to increment the second digit by 1. And what is this here? What would be the value here? What would be the value of this? No, it would be 56, because the third digit is less than 5. Concentrate on the next position of your number of what do you say, number of required fields. Always check the next digit from your required fields. So what we have done in the earlier case, when it is 3 digits after your decimal, we are concentrating on the fourth digit. Based on that, we are taking a decision whether to increment that particular value or not. Right. Now here it is a case of 2 digits after the decimal. So what we have to do, we have to check the third digit after the decimal, and based on that particular third digit, you can take an action over your second digit. Here in the first case, my third digit value was greater than or equal to 5. And so what happened? I could increment the value by 1 to the second digit. But in the second case, my third digit value is less than or equal to 5. So what happens? I cannot take any action on this second digit. So the output will remain as 5, 6. Is that okay? Understandable? Right. Okay, cool. Now, let me take this. So what will be the output value now? What would be the output value?
0.6.
First 6. Second one, what would be the value for yes? Yeah, sure. Andy. What would be the
0.5.
value? Yes. First 3, second one 0.5. Okay. Now, all right. Now, what will be the output? 1, 2, 3, 5. First one. Okay. What about the second one? Perfect. All right. So when you say 0, it means that you do not need any decimals any digits after your decimal point. Now, when you say no digits after your decimal point, you're concentrating on the first digit after your decimal. If the value is greater than or equal to 5, then increment the preceding value. The preceding value is 4, so you'll be incrementing it by 1. So it comes as 5. So 1, 2, 3, 5. Now here in the second situation, the very first position of the digit value is less than or less than 5. So you'll not be taking any action over the preceding value. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now, next set of inputs. Now what happens when I have the digits over when I have the number of digits given in the form of, or the second argument given in the form of negative integers. So what happens with this? Okay, let me go with this one. I'll execute it. Based on that, give me your understanding. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Just రాగానే ఒకసారి రిమైండ్ చేయండి, వచ్చేస్తాను. Right, I'm executing this part of the query. See the output. Now what has happened here? What is happening here? So whenever I set the values in positive or zeros, what are the actions that we have taken? When it is a positive value, like let's say 1, 2 or 3 or 4, whatever may be the number, it indicates that the number of digits that we required after decimal value, right? When we say the value as 0, it means that we do not require any value or any digits after your decimal. Okay, now here the condition is different. We are having a second argument in the term of minus, or in terms of minus. So what we are supposed to do here? Now when I say minus of any value, it would take an action on the digits which are before the decimal. After the decimals is completely ignored out. We are not going to get any values after your decimal, but it would be taking an action before the decimal. Okay, now here the case is, what is the value before the decimal? We have, let me erase this. Alright, what is the value that we have? We have the value as, we have the value as 5125. Alright, and we have to ensure that we are applying that particular -1 criteria. So what do I mean by -1? So this is my -1 position. This is my -1, this is my -2, this is my -3, this is my -4. Okay, so when I have a value displayed as -1, so it means that I have to round this particular value to the 3 digits and based on this particular -1. So what happens here? So 51 is my general output, but the action over this particular value is taken based on the value that I have here. If the value here is greater than or equal to 5, then increment the preceding value by 1, so it becomes 3. Then override this particular value by 0. So 5130. If at all the value 5124 is our next case, right? So 51 is as it is. All right, this -1th position value is less than 5, so there will not be any action. So whenever you see a -1, it is obvious that the -1th position value will be 0. But based on the existing digit in this particular position, if that particular value is greater than or equal to 5, then increment the preceding value by 1. Else decrement it by, or keep it, sorry, no decrement, else keep it in the same way. Okay, all right. So let's see the next one. Now see this. So what is happening here? I'm asking you to make a round of -2. So this value will be ignored to 0. This value will be ignored to 0. And as this value is greater than 5, then the action would be happening on this particular value. See the output. 5200 would be your resultant here, and 5100 would be the resultant here. So how did we get this particular answer? Now 5165. All right, 5165. Now I have to make a round to -2. So when I say -2, this is my position, a required position. Alright, so I have directly navigated to this position, then this value will be obviously 0. It comes as 0 for sure, or it overwrites to 0. Now again, whenever we are working on minus, the position where we are looking for is overwritten to 0. So I have overwritten to 0. But by overwriting to 0, I have to make an action over the preceding digit. Now this value is greater than or equal to 5. So what should I do? I have to increment the preceding value by 1. So 5, 2. Okay, this is how the value is generated. Now if you see this value 5144, my positioning is -2. Yes, -1 value. Yes, this will be 0. Perfect. Now this will be obviously 0 because we are looking at that particular position. But I have to take an action on this particular one based on the preceding value. So based on the next value. So what is the value here? I have a value which is less than or equal to 5. So when I have a value which is less than or equal to 5, I will not be taking any action on this particular digit. It will be seen as 1 itself, and there is no action on this one. So the answer is 5100. Okay, clear? All right. Yes. Now you have to answer me this one. So what would be the output of this particular round function? Now the first case is first 3 digits would be 0 and the third digit is greater than or equal to 5. So it should be perfect. It should be 6,000 and 5,000. So what is the value of this? What would be the value of this? Now what happens in this particular situation? You have to round to -4. Yes. So when I say -4, this one will be 0, this one will be 0, this one will be 0. What would be my output? See that? What happened? The reason why you got the 10,000 is because this value is greater than 5. Right? When this value is greater than 5, you have to increment the preceding one. Always in case of your mathematics, the preceding, if you don't have anything, you assume that it is a 9 value, right? So what would you do? You increment it by 1. Okay, so that is how you got the value as 10,000 here. Now if I give the value as -5, now what happens here? When I say -5, if I execute this, then both the things are 0 because I do not have 5 digits before the decimal. Okay, so I cannot assume another 2 digits before the decimal. So all these 4 digits are 0. There is no fifth digit, so the entire value would be 0. Is that okay? So what is round function doing? Round function is going to round the digit by the specified number of digits within that particular part of the query. Okay, so based on your second argument, the input string is going to get rounded. Is that okay? This is what a round function does. Okay, clear? So what is this reminder function doing now? Reminder is another mathematical function. What is this reminder function doing? it calculates the reminder. On dividing a particular value, it calculates the reminder. For example, let's take the situation as select 4 by 2 from dual. When I divide 4 by 2, what am I going to get? I'm going to get a value as 2. Okay, and it will not give me any indication as what is the remainder. This is the quotient that you get, right? Whereas if I say select 5 by 2 from dual, what would I get? I'd get the value as 2.5. Right. So what it is doing, it is dividing the value by exactly that particular given denominator, and it is giving you it is either generating a normal value or even the floating value. Okay, but there can be situations that you want to know the remainder of it. Alright, so here within this particular normal function, you are not able to get that particular remainder value. Just give me a second, guys. Hello. Sorry, guys. So here, what is happening here? We are getting a value exactly divided, including the decimals. Okay, so there can be situations that we need a reminder out of that particular calculation, and to get that particular reminder, we will be going with the reminder function. Now here, the use of this particular round function. So where can we apply this particular round functions? The round functions can be applied to a place where you feel the calculations are more and more important. You wanted to find the calculations. Let's say here you have a criteria of dividing this particular value. Now you don't want to see the value. You just want the quotient to be displayed. So what would you do? I'm just saying as 5 by 2 comma 0. When you say 5 by 2 comma 0, what happens? What would be the value here? What would be the output? What is 5 by 2 here? 5 by 2 value is nothing but 2.5. Now it is nothing but round off 2.5 comma 0. Right. So whenever it is 0, that means you do not need any decimal value. Okay. So you'll not get any decimal value. But based on the first digit present in after the decimal, you would take a call on your digit that is before decimal. So 2.5 comma 0, so the preceding digit is greater than 5 or equal to 5, so the answer would be 3, right? Okay, so these are the times where you would be going with the round functions. Another criteria where we would be going with the round functions. Let's take a situation. Okay, display ename job salary incremented salary. All right, so calculate the increment salary by 15 or by mm, adding 15 percentage of original salary. Alright, this is how we have to calculate it. Okay, so this is what my requirement is. Now what would I do? Select ename job salary. I do not have any column called as incremented salary in case of my employee table. So what is the criteria here? I have to calculate the incremented salary by adding 15% of original salary to the existing salary. So what would be that one? Salary plus salary into 0.15, or which is nothing but your 15 by 100, whatever it is. 15 percentage is nothing but into 0.15 or 15 by 100. Alright, from what is this column? This column is my incremented salary from EM. Now you see here, there are values that are represented in decimals. But if the condition is, let's say, the requirement says that round the digits to, alright, round the value to 0 decimals. If this is my requirement, so what would I do? I would give a round function here, round off this particular value to 0. Now here you see everything is appearing in a proper manner. Alright, so wherever you feel the calculations are more important, what would you do? You would go with this particular round mathematical function. This is very useful mathematical function. Please keep in mind. Okay, so any question about round function? Any questions about mathematical functions? So these are the main important mathematical functions that we would be dealing with when we are put in work. Okay, so the next thing would be our string functions. All right, the first point that I would like to tell you is Oracle data is a case sensitive one. Okay, Oracle data is a case sensitive one. Now let's take the situation. Select Durga name from Java. When I execute this part of the query, I see the value as normal value as Durga. Whatever the way that I have represented within the query, I'll be getting the value in the same way. Okay. If I give the value in this way, it would store the value in the same way. I would see the value as in the same way. Now, this Durga is different from this Durga. Okay, this Durga is different from this Durga. Now, based on this, we have two functions or three functions. Okay, the first function is upper. So what does this particular function does? This particular function would convert the given string into upper cases. So for example, select upper of, I'm giving the value as in this way. From 0. So what happened? What was the input string here? Input string was Durga, which was in lower cases. But when I used this particular upper string function, what it has done? It has generated a value which is in upper cases. So whatever the lowercase value that you have represented within your query is seen as in upper cases in the output. Likewise, you have a function called as lower. Okay, so select lower of, all right, lower of Durga, email from Leo. All right, now here I have the value called as Durga, whose first letter is in uppercase and the rest all in smaller cases. Now in this case, when I say lower, the entire string would be converted into lower cases, including the first value, first digit, right, first alphabet also. It would be converted into lower cases. So what is upper function doing? Upper function would calculate or would give the or would generate the output in the upper cases, and lower function would generate the value in the lower cases. Now where can we apply this particular upper and lower functions? For example, right, for instance, let's assume that we are working on the employee table, and we have to figure out an employee whose name is as Adams. All right, whose name is as Adams, and we have to get this particular data from this particular table. I do not know in what format the data was loaded into that particular table. I really do not know what was that particular format of data. Okay, so now what happens if I say where ename is equal to Adams? If I execute this part of the query, I'll not get any results. Looking at this, one could feel that yes, there are no people called Adams. But if I use this particular function, now I'll get the result. Because what it has done, it has lowered this ename and then made a condition to the input data. On lowering this particular value, it is going to make a condition on this particular input data. Based on that, it has retrieved the output, and the output will not be according to your input filtering condition. It would be according to the way it is stored in the table. But if you had mentioned here like lower of ename, comma, job, comma, emp number, if we give in this way, then it would lower the data. So the difference between both the conditions is in the very first condition. In the very first condition, when I have went through asterisk, I'm going to retrieve the values as it is stored in that particular table. Yes, sorry, Andy. I'll give you a call. Sorry, just give me a minute. Sorry guys, I was on a project call, so I cannot take that. Okay, fine. Let's wrap up the things in a fast manner. So are you good? So we were discussing on few things like the lowering function. So the purpose of this particular lower function, it's lower is a string function, lower and upper are the string functions. Basically these functions would be used to to generate the output in the lower case or in the upper case. Now the best usage of this particular functions would be whenever you do not have any clear idea on the data, then you would either go with lower or upper functions based on the filtering conditions that you are giving with. Okay, so I would always suggest that you would go with lower and upper functions when you're not clear with the data. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Bye. ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు బ్రేక్ ఇచ్చాను కదా కొంచెం తీసేసుకుంటాం.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. See you.
Bye.
Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I drop. Functions are. So we have another function. Before I go with another function, the other important function, let's go with the different function that will derive one particular calculation. Based on that, we will go with another function. Let's say the other function is called as substring. Substr. Substring is the function, and this function is used when you want to retrieve part of the data from the given field. Let's say in this way, select substr. All right, my input string is Durga. All right, I want to retrieve the string from the second position. Okay, now let's say this is my UPD data. Okay, and let's say this is my original data. Okay, now you see the output. Basically, learning of these functions would be with examples. Okay, I can give you straightforwardly a definition, but that doesn't make sense. So I would definitely give you, or I'll give you a working example. Based on that, we'll derive a conclusion. That way we can understand the things in much better manner. Now here you see, now what I have done, this is my original data, right? Durga is my original data. But when I used the substring, what am I saying from with the substring? With the substring, I'm saying to pull the characters from the string starting with the second position. Now D stands in your first position, U stands in your second position. All right, when I said input string, this is my input string and this is my search string within it. I mean starting position of from that particular input string. Now here I said 2. When I say 2, it pulls the characters from that particular position. So my output would be URGA. All right, I need the output from 3. Sorry, if I say I need the output from 3, if I execute it, now what is the third position? The third position value is as R. So RGA would be my output. Okay, now likewise substring can also have a third argument in place. So what is the third argument here? Let's say my input string is Durga. All right, I want to start the extraction process from the first string till the third characters. Now you see this particular data. So what happened? What is your second argument? Second argument says that it is the position of start of extraction, and from that particular position of start, extract 3 characters. So how many number of characters we have? Totally it is of 5. Now from that particular position, I need three characters as an output. So D stands as 1, 2, U, and 3. So these are the three characters that I see as part of the output. So substring can have either two arguments or three arguments. So whenever you go with two arguments, it means that the last value is the maximum value. Okay, the third argument is optional. Okay, so here whenever you don't give the third argument, what it does, it picks the characters from that particular start position and it retrieves the entire data from that particular position. Whereas when you provide your the third argument, it removes or it extracts those many number of characters from the given string, and that is what is all about your substring. Okay, clear? All right. The next function is length. All right. So this function is used to calculate the length of the given string. For example, select length of ename, comma ename from emp. When I execute this part of the query, you see Smith is a 5-letter word. Wow, letter word. Right, Miller, 6-letter word. So what is length function is going to calculate the length of that particular given input string. See, salary is a 3-letter word. Okay, 3-letter character or 3-digit word. 1600 is a 4. Okay, so that is how. So length can be applied to any number of either to a positive, either to a strings or to a numericals. Now likewise, can we apply the substring to numerical values? If I say from 2, all right, comma salary, see this substring, what is happening? We are saying to start extraction process from the second character. Okay, second position. Now what is the second position from 800? It starts with 0. See, the output is 0 0. 1600, 600 is your output. So these functions can also be applied on your numerical data. It is not necessary that this function, the substring function and the length function needs to be applied on a string data, but it can be also applied on a numerical data. Is that okay? Clear? Okay. Now this will be your assignment. Okay. Now let's say I have a name as Durga. Okay. Now I want to change this particular name as the first letter should be as D and all the next letters should be as URGA. I do not want any functions. There is a function, but I will not give you that particular function and you need not to Google for it. Whatever the things that we have discussed here, make use of that things. And there was a point that we have discussed in the earlier class as well. All right. Make use of all those particular things and get this particular assignment done. So the assignment is all about display the first character in capital letters, all right, and the rest in small letters for all the employees. First character of ename. Okay, for all the employees. This is one of your assignment, and the second one is the same thing in a different manner. Display the last character in smalls, last character of ename in small letters and rest in capital letters for all employees. first three characters of ename in capital letters and rest in small letters. Okay, so this is your assignment, and do not Google it. That is a wrong approach. Okay, try to do it by yourself. That is the way you will be learning the things in a much appropriate manner, much better way. Okay, try to do it by yourself and get the things done. If at all you are not able to do, anyway we are going to talk about these three things tomorrow, but your practice is more important in doing all these things. Okay, so I hope you would be doing this. I will particular questions here in the chat. Please copy that particular questions. Everyone, please do copy that. Do not wait for the class notes to be sent by Arvind. Just copy it, these three questions from the chat. Yes, length function is a function which would calculate the total length of that particular value. If at all, see, let me say, if at all the name is as Durga Satish Kulukuluri. Okay, I want to calculate what is the length of this particular string. Then what would I do? I would say select length of this particular string from data. I'm just going with you. So what would it do? It would calculate the total length, including the spaces. Okay, is that clear, Sunita? Right? So those are the three questions for your assignment. Any other questions for today? I'm so sorry because I have to take my project call in between. I'm so sorry for that. Okay, apart from this, do you have any other questions for today? All right, I hope everyone is having database and it is installed and it is running successfully. So try to get it done. That is much more important. Okay. All right, guys. Then let's see tomorrow. Let's meet tomorrow. Please complete the assignment. Okay. Okay then. See you guys.